I'll be right back. I need to turn my pretty lights on so we can just like feel the vibe, you know? Hello, it's me and this delicious strawberry shortcake that my mom made me. I'm like in front of a spotlight right now because I'm in like the fun lighting of my room. So I can be pink, it can be blue, it can be green, whatever my heart desires. We're gonna go white for now. I have another light on in the background, which is why there's like a pale pink, but we are going to get right into this video. So basically I'm going to be doing the 3 books that I've read this month. I'm doing for the month of May. I know that it's currently the day I'm filming this, which is literally Monday, and I'm posting it Tuesday. It's currently the 20th, so it's not quite the end of the month, but I will probably only finish this one book that I'm going to be talking about before the end of the month. So let's get into it. I recently started a reading journal using an old bullet journal, and it says that it started Jan 1st of 2024, but I literally did not read at all while I was in college because it's really too busy. I started reading a book near the end of college, but finished it when I was done. So in here I have reading goals, 20 books read by the end of the year, which I tried to do last year and I think I got to like 18. And I do love to read. Like most of those are in the 3-4 months that I have of summer. And then stay consistent in journaling about my books, which I have because I've only read 2 this month. I'm reading my 3rd right now, so we good. To give you a reference before we begin, I'm going to talk about what my star rating means. So I wrote this down on here so that I can like convey it to you, you know. 5 stars is absolutely loved it, new fave. 4 stars is loved it, would recommend. 3 stars, it was okay. 2 stars, I didn't like this. 1 star, I hated it. So the 3 books that I'm going to be talking about are Happy Place by Emily Henry, Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and then I'm currently reading a little more than halfway through The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides? Guys, I'm stupid. I don't know how to say that. I'm actually not stupid. I just don't know how to pronounce this name, which is okay. I'm going to talk about them, what I thought about them, show you my little book journal page for them, etc. Because I know the girlies are readers. Like, I have always been a die-hard reader. I was the kid in elementary school who my mom would have to come into my room and tell me it's time to go to bed because I would secretly stay up past my bedtime, put a nightlight on under my blanket, and read under my blanket after I was supposed to be asleep. So I was super cool. No, but I literally always love to read. Like, it's a defining personality trait for me. And I'm also just now getting into like annotating books. My boyfriend got me a bunch of book tags, like little book tabs. The first time I literally have ever annotated, besides for like school obviously, but like annotated a book that I'm reading for pleasure is Emily Henry's Happy Place. So this is what the side of my book looks like. I had 5 different colors and I tried to match them to the book the best that I could. So yellow is happier, cute moments. This like tan color is a quote that I like. Blue is sad. I put sad ... we're so over. And then purple is gasp, what's going on, and then the pink is romantic or spicy. So I will clarify, this book, she gets her sky. It's really not that bad, and most of it is just like alluding to the fact that things have happened. There's some little scenes where it's like things are happening, you know what I mean? You know what I mean. But that doesn't bother me. However, you do have to understand before going in the kind of audience it's for. I would say this is definitely like more adult romance. Could be young adult as well. I'm 19 and I read it and I think it's fine, but I would be aware if you're like, I don't want to read any spicy anything, do not pick up this book. However, I gave this book 4.5 stars. Now, to preface, I've read, I think, every book Emily Henry has ever made. So I really love her writing style, and I think it's like she's so popular, her and Taylor Jenkins Reid, who I'll get to in a second. But they're both so popular because they have such a specific niche where people might not think it's specific because, for example, this is basically a romance story, like that type of deal. But it's really not just that, where I think that, please don't hate me, I'm not a huge fan of Colleen Hoover and the books that she writes for various reasons, but story-wise, it's just because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the books are made for people who don't like to read that much, so they're a lot more like simple in their writing style and things like that. And I think that Emily Henry and Taylor Jenkins Reid do a really good job of keeping the story palatable to wide audiences, catering to non-readers, and also having beautiful writing that holds up. The reason I did not give this a 5 is I literally wrote this in my little thoughts section of my journal. I said, this book was so fun. I honestly think it may have been a 5-star if I could have read it faster. I had to read it slow. I read it across like a month, I think. Yeah, literally exactly a month. And so when you have to read a book for that long, it just kind of, you know, there were like pauses where I would not read it for a week because I was in college. But no, I did really like this book. Let me read my thoughts on it. First of all, it was 385 pages, which is important. I said, I would recommend this book to literally anyone in my life. The characters, dialogue, and relationships, both romantic and platonic, were very genuine, and I easily connected with the story. The writing was easy to read, yet not too simple. I also liked the length and felt that the story started and finished in an appropriate time. You know when you're reading a book and you're like, yay, the conflict is almost solved, and there's like 100 pages left, and then you just keep feeling like, oh, this book, like it needs to end, they're doing too much. Like sometimes it happens, or the reverse is you're like, this conflict was resolved very quickly without a lot of explanation, the book's too short. I felt like this one was a perfect, beautiful length. The synopsis for this book, I wrote like a shortened version, so I'm going to read that for you. Harriet and Wynne have been the perfect couple since they met in college, except now they broke up and still haven't told their best friends, which is how they find themselves sharing a bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friend group's yearly getaway for the last decade. I said getaway weird. Getaway for the last decade. They can't stand to break their friends' hearts, so they'll play their parts. Bar. Literally, bar. Emily Henry, bar. Anyways, no, I really did enjoy this book. I think it's so fun. It's so summery. I would pick this up now. Pick it up now. If you do not have it, pick it up now. She just came out with a new book too that I saw at Barnes & Noble, and I will need to be purchasing ASAP. But yeah, first book of 2024 and of the summer, I gave it a 4.5 stars. Thank you, Emily Henry. You amaze me. Now this book, you guys. Lives were changed. Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid was a 5-star read for me. I feel like, I don't know if that's a common take. I don't have, I mean, I guess I have, but I never use like Goodreads and stuff like that. Like I think I have an account and I might update it like once a year and I just kind of add all the books I've read without rating anything or something. But like I never actually use it for anything else. I maybe get on it once a year when I remember that I have it. And so I don't know how this one ranked. Let's see. I gave it a 5 stars. Its average on Goodreads is a 4.2 out of 5. So it's pretty good. This was just such a great book. Taylor Jenkins Reid, again, have read pretty much everything that she has published. And I love how she incorporates her other characters into her stories, like Daisy Jones and the Six, Malibu Rising, and Carrie Soto is Back. Like they're all intertwined. My first Taylor Jenkins Reid book was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And it was like when that book was super popular on TikTok, like when it just started. Like people were just starting to say that it was a good book. And I had seen like 1 or 2 TikToks about it. And so I was like, I'm gonna get one. And I loved that book. And I'm a Taylor Jenkins Reid stan, what can I say? This one I only had 4. I tabbed this one too. Aww. This one I only had 4. I think I have 1 random pink one in here, which I don't really know how that happened. I think that I was originally going to use a pink one to be like romance or like whatever, but then I quickly realized romance is not the focus of this story, which works in its favor. I'm gonna take a bite of my strawberry shortcake. Sorry, I've been like waiting and it's too much. Very good. These are the colors I use. The top one is quotes that I like. The brighter yellow is happy moments. The blue is sad, sad, sad. And then this like brown color is gasp. I tried to match them to the cover because that's what I'd be doing. This one, I looked up its genre and people were classifying it as a historical fiction, which I mean, I guess makes sense. The synopsis is Carrie Soto is fierce. I, by the way, shortened this again. Carrie Soto is fierce, and her determination to win at any cost has not made her popular. She sacrificed nearly everything to become the best, with her father, Javier, as her coach. But 6 years after her retirement, Carrie makes the monumental decision to return in one last attempt to reclaim her record, even if it means swallowing her pride to train with a man she once almost opened her heart to, Bo Huntley. Do you see how that little romance tidbit was like right at the end? It's because although it does play like a large part in her personal narrative and her story, I really like that it was not the entire focus of the book. It was 364 pages, and I wrote, literally obsessed. I was genuinely rooting for Carrie. I felt her sadness, her joy, her devastation, and her triumph. I will recommend this book to everyone. The news articles throughout kept me so engaged and also shed light on the unfair narratives that surround female athletes. A common TJR slay. TJR as in Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book is super cool in that it is set in like 60s through 80s. Like that's kind of where we take place most of this. A lot of it happens in the 70s, 80s era. Taylor Jenkins Reid, her mind, she put a bunch of like news articles and a bunch of like sports coverage, like fake sports coverage of these matches, like these tennis matches. This is about tennis, by the way, if that was not clear. It is just like, it was so good. It kept me like, it was always something new sprinkled in there, like you weren't ever expecting one. It was really interesting to see some of the female newscasters versus the male newscasters, like that type of thing. I also finished it like 2 days before I went and saw Challengers. It just like made my Challengers experience so much better because I actually understood a lot of the calls and stuff, because this book does use a lot of tennis vocabulary, obviously. 5-star read from me. Sorry, switching up angles on you. But to talk about this next book, I'm currently reading this. I'm on page 126 of this book. So this is the front and this is the back. So I'm literally just a little bit over halfway through. And I'm gonna finish it. I started reading it like 3 days ago. This is my third day and I haven't read it at all today. But I am really liking that book so far. Obviously, the virgin suicides, not gonna be super cheery. This book has been out for a long time. There's also a really popular movie around this book, which I have not watched, which I think is probably gonna make my experience better. I'm really, really liking it so far. It's a completely different vibe from the other two that I've shown you. It's not so much like a happy, like, woo, summer. Like, that's not the vibe. Basically, this book is told from the perspective of boys in their community, like boys around their age, their neighbors and such, as these teenage girls just like live their lives with their strangely like overprotective family. But it's basically them realizing, like, after the girls have passed, how little the boys really seem to mean to the girls. Like, the boys are basically like obsessed with them in like a kind of creepier way. Like, everything they do is sexualized somehow. It's like really creepy. One of my creepiest quotes was something about when one of the girls passed and one of the boys said something about how he, in her casket, by the way, she's in a casket, and he says something about how if he had the nerve, he would have like copped a final feel. Huh? No Chick-fil-A sauce. Okay. No, but seriously, like, this is the vibe. It's a very different vibe than the other two. But I'm really liking it so far. I'm curious to see how it will end, and then I'm definitely going to watch the movie. But I like that it's the perspective of these boys who basically are little freaks, and they think that everything that these girls do is somehow in a way to pursue them, make them sad or angry or happy or tease them, like all this stuff. And in reality, these girls could not give less of a care about how these boys perceive them. And in fact, the way that these boys perceive them makes them feel like uncomfortable, and like sometimes they'll say stuff. Like, one of the diaries of the girls was found and there was like no mention of any of the boys in it, and they were all hurt. And I was like, you're fine. But anyways, that's this one right now. I think if it continues the way that it's been, it's like an easy, at least 4-star read. But yeah, those are the 3 books that I have read so far this month. I'm definitely going to finish this one before the month ends. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an incredible morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. Go pick up these books. These are the 3 books that I read in May. Again, as I said, different vibe. Not young adult. I would not recommend this for a young adult. I would recommend this for someone maybe at the youngest, like probably like 16, because it has some graphic like wound imagery that I've seen so far. So just like trigger warning on that. But these, so vibes. This one's definitely YA. Again, only a couple like allusions to risque behavior. Nothing in depth that I remember. And then this one is a little bit more risque, but again, nothing crazy. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that I will see you in the next one. Bye.